Imagine stepping out of a time machine and onto the cobblestone streets of 17th century London. The air is a thick cocktail of sea salt from the Thames, wood smoke from thousands of chimneys, and the overwhelming scent of a city packed with 500,000 souls. This was the beating heart of an empire in the making, a city that was simultaneously a masterpiece of architecture and a nightmare of congestion. Welcome to Rewritten Realities. Today, we aren't just looking at history, we are stepping into it. Using the latest advancements in neural network AI and historical data mapping, we have reconstructed the lost world of 1600s London. By breathing life into centuries-old engravings and oil paintings, we've unlocked perspectives that even the original artists couldn't see. Prepare yourself. We are about to cross the most famous bridge in history, witness the birth of modern theater, and survive the greatest catastrophe the city has ever known. This is London as you have never seen it before. To understand London in the 1600s, you must understand the Old London Bridge. Before it was replaced in the 19th century, this wasn't just a bridge, it was a floating city. For over 500 years, it was the only permanent stone crossing over the River Thames in central London. Notice the sheer density. The bridge was packed with nearly 200 buildings, shops, luxury houses, and even a chapel. Some of these structures reached 7 stories high, leaning precariously over the dark waters below. As you walked across, the sky would virtually disappear, replaced by the overhanging timber frames of merchants' homes. But look beneath the surface. The bridge rested on 19 massive stone piers, called starlings. These acted like a dam, restricting the tidal flow of the Thames. The water didn't just flow through the arches, it roared. This phenomenon, known as shooting the bridge, turned the Thames into a dangerous rapid. Professional boatmen were the only ones brave enough to navigate it, and even then, many didn't survive the surge. For the residents of the bridge, life was a constant vibration. The roar of the water below, the clatter of iron-rimmed wheels above, and the smell of the river created a sensory experience unlike anywhere else on Earth. It was London's premier commercial address, the Wall Street of its day, where fortunes were made in the shadow of the bridge's defensive gates. If you crossed to the southern end of the bridge, you entered Southwark. In the 1600s, this was London's Sin City. It sat outside the strict jurisdiction of the city's Puritan authorities, making it a wild frontier of entertainment. Behold the Globe Theatre. This is the house that Shakespeare built. Through our AI reconstruction, we can see the thatched roof and the open-air pit where the groundlings, the common laborers, would pay a single penny to stand and watch Hamlet or Macbeth. But the Globe wasn't alone. It shared the neighborhood with bear baiting pits, where spectators watched dogs fight captive bears, and rowdy taverns like the Tabard Inn. This was a place of extreme contrasts. On one street, you had the highest form of English literature being performed. On the next, you had the most brutal public spectacles imaginable. The atmosphere here was electric. It was loud, it was dirty, and it was alive. Our AI rendering captures the vibrant colors of the actors' costumes, contrasted against the gray, muddy streets of the South Bank.
Just up the river stands the Tower of London. We know it today as a grim prison for traitors, but in the 1600s, it housed something far more exotic, the Royal Menagerie. For centuries, the tower was the private zoo of the monarchs, where they kept diplomatic gifts from across the globe. Imagine the shock of a 17th century Londoner who had likely never seen a house cat larger than a tabby, suddenly coming face to face with a Barbary lion. These powerful beasts were kept in the Lion Tower near the main entrance, their roars echoing across the Thames. But it wasn't just lions. Within these stone walls lived tigers, leopards, and even a polar bear, a gift from the King of Norway. The polar bear was a local celebrity. It was famously allowed to swim in the river on a long, sturdy chain to catch fish, much to the amazement of onlookers on the banks. To the people of London, these creatures weren't just animals. They were living symbols of the king's power and his reach into the unknown corners of the world. Moving inland, we reach Smithfield Market. If the bridge was the city's heart, Smithfield was its stomach. This was a massive open-air meat market where thousands of cattle and sheep were driven every week directly through the crowded city streets. The chaos here was absolute. You'd hear the frantic shouting of traders, the lowing of cattle, and the constant movement of people during the Bartholomew Fair held every August. But Smithfield had a darker side. It was also the primary site for public executions. The same ground that hosted a festival carnival one day might witness a state execution the next. In the 1600s, life and death lived in an uncomfortable daily embrace. From the blood and mud of Smithfield, we walked to Cheapside, the widest and grandest street in London. The name comes from the Old English word cheap, meaning market, and this was the capital's center of luxury. Here, goldsmiths and silk merchants displayed their fortunes. Standing tall over the street was the magnificent Cheapside Cross, a grand medieval monument that served as a landmark for royal processions and a reminder of the city's ancient roots. But all of this, the bridge, the markets, the timber-framed history, was nearly wiped off the map in 4 days of terror. September 1666. The nightmare began in a small bakery on Pudding Lane. Because of a long drought and fierce east winds, the fire didn't just burn, it exploded. Witnesses at the time, like Samuel Pepys, described a wall of flame that seemed to consume the very sky. Watch as the fire reaches the old St. Paul's Cathedral. At the time, it was one of the largest buildings in the world. Thousands had filled the cathedral with their furniture and books, believing the massive stone walls would act as a fortress against the heat. They were wrong. The fire grew so intense that the lead roof melted, sending rivers of molten metal down the streets like lava. Medieval London, as people knew it, was being erased in real time.
London is a city defined by its resilience. Out of the ashes of 1666 rose a new vision. Sir Christopher Wren, the era's greatest architect, was commissioned to rebuild the broken capital. The transition was dramatic. The old square-towered medieval cathedral was replaced by the iconic dome of the St. Paul's we recognize today. This was the first time a dome of this scale had ever been attempted in England, a defiant statement to the world that London was not dead, it was being reborn, not as a wooden maze, but as a modern stone-built global superpower. Walking the streets of London today, it's easy to forget that beneath the asphalt and glass skyscrapers lies the ghost of the 1600s. The layout of the streets, the names of the hidden alleys, and the indomitable spirit of the people remain unchanged. The reconstruction of these lost worlds serves as more than just a visual exercise. It's a reminder of the stories that happened within these walls. The traders on the bridge, the actors at the Globe, and the survivors of the Great Fire, they all shaped the world we inhabit today. History isn't just trapped in books, it's in the very air we breathe. What city should we rewrite next? Do you want to see the neon streets of 1920s New York or the marble splendor of ancient Rome? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey through time, hit the like button and subscribe to Rewritten Realities. Together, let's bring the past back to life. Thank you for watching.